I think this is my panel, right? Is this the voice acting Q&A? Okay. Sorry, I literally just got here. Yeah, I guess we can get started. I am Sungwon Cho. I'm a voice actor. Who here knows who I am already? Okay, so if you don't know who I am, I voice Senshi in Delicious in Dungeon, Flag in Borderlands 3, Red Tosker, and God of War, a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, this is just pretty loose form. I think we have a mic here that'll work for the audience. Is there someone, the lights are blinding. Is there somebody on staff here? Okay, cool. So yeah, I guess we can, do we want to pass the mic to people in the audience or have people line up? Whatever is easiest for you guys.
Line up, probably.
Okay, cool. So here you go. Yeah, if you want to ask me a question, line up, I guess. Otherwise, I'll literally sit here for an hour. So go for it. Yeah. I wouldn't mind it. Maybe mine. Cool. Where are they all lining up here?
Yes.
All right, cool. Sorry, yeah, from my view, it is 4 blinding lights on me, so I can barely see people's faces. You got the mic?
Yeah, I got the mic.
Yeah, go for it. What do you got?
So first, my boyfriend absolutely loves you. I'm a little suspicious because he loves you a little too much.
Oh, no, I get it, yeah.
But my question is, just tell us your life story. Just what brings you here? Like, what got you interested in voice acting, all that.
Sure. Yeah, I got interested in voice acting through my friend used to write radio plays when we were in high school. He would just have all his friends do it. That's where I first fell in love with acting. And then I knew that's just what I wanted to do. My sort of backstory and how I got into it was I had no idea how you get into it. Who here uses Tumblr? Okay, yeah. A smaller reaction, but about right, yeah. I started a Tumblr. I just was like, I'm going to make one audio post every single day. I have no idea how to get into voice acting, but I know this is what I want to do. And I did that every day without fail for, I want to say, 4 or 5 years. And I just practiced and auditioned for stuff. And the first game I booked was an indie game called Apotheon. And then there was a game called A Hat in Time. And then, over time, I would, in this industry, you just have to audition for stuff, you get recommended for stuff, and just basically level grind, and then sign with an agent, and Borderlands 3 was a big one, and then just eventually, over time, you just kept at it. So that's basically my journey up to this point, was I knew I wanted to do it, had no idea how to get into it, and just level grinded, so, yeah, thank you.
Hi, good evening.
Hello.
So as somebody who is also a voice actor, and I'm moving up to the more big boy stuff, I'm building my studio and getting my XLR mic and all that jazz.
Yeah.
What is something that you would recommend for people who are getting towards like the more intermediate stage? You mentioned a few things, but like more specifically things that you would like say people to pay attention to a lot more once they've started moving up.
I would say, may I ask, where you're based?
Oh, I'm based here in Atlanta.
Okay, gotcha. I would say just have a good treated space if you're gonna do like remote stuff.
Yeah, just actually have a full sound booth already.
Hey, perfect, yeah. Then honestly, you're in pretty good shape. Just good mic, good setup. Honestly, the booth or whatever treated space you have, I think is pretty important because a lot of studios are very particular about how that sounds, even more so than the microphone, actually. Other than that, yeah, it sounds like you're in pretty good shape. Other than that, a lot of it is just networking and trying out for things. And I always tell people, if you're interested in this, there's also nothing stopping you from making your own stuff to showcase your work.
Oh yeah, build a YouTube channel soon.
So exactly, yeah. Other than that, yeah, I wish you the best of luck.
Okay, thank you very much.
Of course. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. A statement and a question.
Sure.
So my statement is just, longtime follower. proud to see your success and just like a congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
He's the man. I'm going to bring up a boogeyman because
Okay.
I want to see your perspective on it.
Sure.
So, artificial intelligence.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah.
I want to get your perspective on it, and I suppose, I don't know, words of encouragement and maybe like an angle from you on how it's going to impact the voice acting industry and anybody that wants to get into it, and perhaps how they can prepare or how they can look at it to maybe just not like cut themselves off at the knees before they really want to get into a passion, you know?
The thing is about AI is I am very much in support of, I don't know, human artists and creators, as crazy as that sounds. And so I think for me, I just hope that people can convey how important that is to them, if that is something that is important to you, because corporations don't care about you. And so I think when I see some of this stuff lately, especially very recently with AI, it really makes me uncomfortable. I think right now with the video game strike, a big part of it is we are trying to make sure that we are protected because companies will always do what's cheapest if they're not stopped. They don't care about you, and that's why we just gotta fight to protect rights. That's pretty much it. I'm very opposed to it, especially when it cuts out a lot of creative work, not just in voiceover. I have a lot of friends in the animation industry and all sorts of creative industries, and now is the time to really establish boundaries, and because there are uses for AI that are positive, but it has to be very, very carefully monitored, and we need to, now is the time, because it's only going to get more and more sophisticated and potentially more and more dangerous. So,
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Who are some of your heroes in voiceover?
oh, just in general, for me it was anybody I grew up listening to, like your Tom Kenny, your Jennifer Hale. Tom Kane was a voice actor. I really, really loved his work. Corey Burton. Yeah, just anyone from like your classic like Cartoon Network shows. I loved their work, and I continue to be inspired by them. And then a lot of people that are still my peers today are very talented as well. I don't know, other actors, but the ones that I grew up listening to, I am very fond of their work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
I've done some voice work for YouTube, and I've done some voices in what started off indie Poppy Playtime.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if you had any advice specifically with like going into the anime space, and like finding an agent all sounds very intimidating, and so I haven't really taken that step to do that yet.
Sure. Anime, I would say a lot of it is who you know. So it's really just about, I always call it a level grind, right? Like, so right now you said you've done some work. All you can really do is keep working, put out good work that you're proud of. I have told people as well, like, make your own stuff, even beyond anime, like cartoons even. Casting directors sometimes will be like, oh, this person was really funny on TikTok, but I can see their skills, and the studio is interested in choosing them. Make your own work, put it out there, continue to do good work, and then, what was the second part to your question? Agents. I would say an agent, don't worry too much about, I gotta get an agent as fast as I can. I think it's a level grinding. You just have to sort of build up a body of work where you can then approach an agency, and because they can be pretty particular, depend on who they want to represent. Because an agent is really just there to, an agent only gets paid when you get paid. So, it's not something you want to like spring to too early. And a lot of very successful voice actors for a long time didn't even need an agent, because they were able to book work on their own. An agent makes things easier, like they can negotiate contracts for you, and they can find you, their whole purpose is to find you more auditions and work. But you can get to a good point in your career without an agent. I've known many very successful actors who, for like years and years, did not have an agent, and eventually they did get one because it does help. But it just all ties into do good work, keep work, auditioning for stuff, making your own stuff. Because you never know what someone will hear you in and go, oh, I really like this performance. Like sometimes when I'm asked to come in for a job, sometimes they'll be like, yeah, I heard you in this thing 8 years ago, and I'm like, whoa, that's actually a really deep cut. And sometimes it's not like a big profile thing. So yeah, all I can say is just keep at it. Make your own stuff that showcases your work and your skill, and don't worry so much about the agent. That will come in time if it happens. That's all I can really say.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Hi.
Hello.
If there was any project that you wish that you worked on but never got the chance, what would it be?
Oh God. That question hurts me. Something that came out that I would have liked to work on. Don't ask me that. I'll say this because I used to not like to answer this question because one, I don't want to ever be like, I would have been a better choice than so and so for whatever. I never want to start that kind of stuff because I think that's disrespectful. But a franchise that I love and would hopefully one day get more stuff is Ace Attorney. So I'll just say, for me, that is one of my sort of dream sort of things. But I've also been very fortunate. Like I've gotten to work on stuff that were like dream roles for me. So it's like I can't be too I can't complain too much. But if you're gonna ask me, and I'm gonna be honest, I would love to work on an Ace Attorney game. So
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey,
Hello.
So, what got you started with doing comedy skits on YouTube?
I don't know. I just felt like making stuff that I thought was funny. It's crazy because there was a point where I was like, I could never be on camera. I was never like comfortable with that, which is crazy to think about now. Because for those who aren't aware, I have a YouTube channel, ProZD, and it's like a lot of videos have done pretty well on there. I think with a lot of creative things, I just kind of took the plunge into the deep end, not really knowing what to expect, like if anybody would think any of it was funny. I started doing like Vines and stuff. That was my first foray into that. Rest in peace, Vine. I think for me, with some of the stuff I've been fortunate enough to do, it's just dive in the deep end and learn by doing. Like, I've gotten to do some live action acting work, and it's very intimidating at first because, it's very different from voiceover. I got to do motion capture. For God of War. I got to do writing for God of War. Both were very intimidating, but I think it was just me going, you know what? Just do your best, keep above water, and also the people around you will help you out, and just rely on them if you need help. And then comedy videos on, I also was like, yeah, I'll just do it, I guess. And I think YouTube especially is so weird and nebulous. Like, you just kind of have to make stuff you like making, because if you don't, you'll be miserable. So I just made stuff I wanted to make, and it worked out that people enjoyed them, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're a massive inspiration to me. God bless.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I tried to come up with a clever way to say hi. Did not come up with one. Thank
all
you for
good.
your work. That's all I can say.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
My question is, how did you come up with a style while voice acting? Because I've noticed that people have their own style or voices they're better at. How do you find that, and what was your defining moment?
It's an interesting question. I don't really know what my style is. Do you have a word for what you think my style is? I'm honestly just curious.
Well, in different works it has been different.
Sure.
But it's very homey. You have a warm voice.
Okay.
And it's usually been like warmer characters or more stern, loving, stuff like that. So it's just, there's a certain type of character I've heard you do more.
Okay, gotcha. For me, I don't really focus on one style. A lot of it depends on the medium. Because it's funny, because I do voice, very warm characters. But I feel like on the other end, I voice just really cartoony shitheads as well. Like, I feel like there's like a whole, I feel like I've been fortunate enough where I've gotten to play a pretty wide range of characters. And a lot of them very different from me. So for me, I just sort of approach each one individually and go, what's the best voice for this character? What is their background? What is their, motivation? And then a lot of different mediums, very different styles. Some want a cartoony vibe, some want it very grounded. I think for me, it's just important to be flexible and be able to adapt to whatever they throw at you. Yeah, so I don't actually know what my style is. I feel like the job is to kind of be like a chameleon where you can kind of morph into whatever they need you to do. I do have strengths though. Like I think, comedically I think I do well, but also I think when given the opportunity I can pull off dramatic work. So yeah, for me it's just being flexible. That's I guess what I would describe my style being.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey there, someone.
Hello.
As someone who's been doing voice acting for a long period of time, almost a decade now,
Sure.
been inspired by many people, yourself included, especially your journey and how you got from like Vine to YouTube to other voice roles. It's really awesome. But I got a fun question.
Sure.
When it comes to recording in the booth, how often do mishaps happen, and do you have any like recent memories of like just completely out of box wild moments that happen?
I get asked this question a lot, but the honest, boring answer is not very often. Usually it's if you flub a line, you just. I mean, for me, I don't even like acknowledge it. I just pause and just redo it. If it's an anime or something, then you have to start from the beginning, and maybe I'll drop an F-bomb or something. But otherwise, like if it's like a video game or a cartoon, like it doesn't even register to me. Like if I stumble on a word, I just stop and I just redo the sentence again, because you don't need to do it to time or anything like that. With that said, there's some funny, sometimes a funny thing will happen, like usually it'll be me being a little shit, where one thing for like Delicious in Dungeon is, the director, who's a buddy of mine, there's a scene where Senshi is eating something, and like was doing eating sounds or whatever, and then I was like, I think he asked for something more subtle or something. I forget if I prompted it or if he prompted it, but the idea was, all right, can you do a little more subtly? And so I was like, sure, yeah, I can do that. And then I proceeded to go, nom, 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 as loud as I could. And for me, there's a great joy in hearing the director and engineer just like lose it in the other room, because they're often not in the same room as you. Or if there's like, for that record there was glass, so I can just see them like through the glass. I'm like, good, okay. I got a kick out of it. So that was one that comes to mind, where if I'm very comfortable with the director, sometimes it'll be fun to just play a little joke, I suppose. Yeah.
Absolute fun times. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hello.
So I'm trying to become a voice actor, and one question I have is, what's a way to like get your voice out there? Like, how do you promote yourself? What are some techniques that you do?
That's a really tough question because I feel like when I was starting out, it's changed so dramatically. You just have to kind of try everything, I guess. Like, I feel like I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm at this point like it's like a geezer, right? Like, what's popular? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook? I don't know. Like, it's not Facebook. I'm joking, but like TikTok. I just feel like try whatever, you know, like be bold. There's not really like a downside to it. So I'll say we live in an age that's very interesting in that, like, back in like, I don't know, the 80s or whatever, it was like, you gotta know a guy. Like, there's no way to get discovered really. Like, you gotta know a guy and they'll bring you in. Whereas now we live in an age where literally anyone, like, it doesn't matter where you live, you could potentially get discovered. But with that said, it's a huge landscape online, so it is very hard to, I guess, get discovered or whatever. Unfortunately, I don't have like a solid answer for you. All I can say is just get out there, make stuff on different platforms that you enjoy and that showcases your work. And I think what helps even more is just start auditioning for stuff. Like, there's websites like Voice Acting Club or Casting Call. Just like you can find open auditions for indie games. I actually think that will help the potential to because instead of like being discovered through TikTok or whatever, which is still a valid way, I think a lot of stuff comes from being recommended by director. Like, oh, this person's pretty good. They auditioned for this thing, or they did good on this thing. I can recommend them for this, or I'll keep them in mind for the next thing. Like, I've booked jobs where I auditioned for something, didn't get it, and then years later, like 5 years later, the casting director cast me in something else without me auditioning, and they were like, "Yeah, I've had you in my mind. Just like, you did really good on this. It just wasn't the fit for that. But I've been aware of you for years since, and you know." So the more auditioning you do, it's all one. It's experience. I think a lot of it is just building up experience. But if you do good in your auditions, you can leave an impression on a casting director, and they can, like, sometimes you can get to a point where you don't have to audition for some stuff because they just know, oh, from your demo reel, from your past auditions, I know you can play this type of character. Just come in. But to get to that point, you have to prove yourself. So making stuff online, finding auditions, that's all I can really suggest to you.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Hello.
I was a little curious to know, like, with your statement about like the range of voices,
Mhm.
what type of voice do you think is a range of voice which is challenging for you to do, or at least one that you want to do more?
Oh, interesting. I don't know if I have the same answer for both questions there. The type of voice I find challenging, I feel like younger characters that aren't cartoony, but they're not necessarily characters I'm interested in playing. Like, I'm the type of actor who I've kind of come to terms with, I'm not gonna get cast as your main young, like, anime boy lead, like your hero lead. But I also don't want to play that type of character. Nothing against that type of character. To me, it's just not super interesting. For me, I don't necessarily look at like line count, like, oh, they have this many lines and this many episodes. I have found a lot of creative fulfillment in supporting roles, or even like a guest role that's maybe like 3 out of 13 episodes, but those episodes are juicy. To answer your second question, the type of characters I would be interested in playing more of. I play a lot of villains, but I like to play more unsettling, creepy villains. Like, I think I have a good time with it. Like, one I was very proud of was, does anyone know the anime Pluto on Netflix?
Yes.
So I voiced Brow 1589 in that show. And that was an amazing opportunity, and I was very proud of that. very different from the other type of characters I've played. I would love to play more characters like that. And I have gotten to here and there, and yeah, so I guess that answers both of your questions.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
I want to ask, what is your opinion on filmmakers' tendency to cast celebrity roles over voice actors, and how do you think that the voice acting community could help change that?
I don't love it. Here's what I always say. If they're good, then good. Like, if they're not, it sucks. Which sounds obvious, but like, you can hear the difference. Like, for example, someone who gets cast a lot, but I think is actually a good voice actor is Jack Black. I think Jack Black does a good job. Like, I really like his vocal performances. Ones I don't like, I'm not gonna name, but you can tell. You can tell who has the knack for it, the skill for it, and who doesn't. Like, if you hear a really flat read that just does not fit the character, oh man, I could go on, but I'm not gonna. So for me, it's like, hey, if it's a celebrity, but they sound really great or are very passionate about it, because I also don't mind like hearing someone who's new to the voice acting space, and then you just hear them get better over time because you can clearly tell they give a shit. Like for me, the ones that don't give a shit and you can tell are just cashing a check and it just sounds bad, that's a bummer. And I honestly don't know if stunt casting even works. Like, do people really go, oh man, so-and-so is playing this character in this cartoon movie, I gotta go see it? I feel like the kids are gonna go see it no matter who's doing the voices. Like, I don't know. So maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe that is a big draw, but it's never mattered to me. I just go, does the movie look good? Does it look cool? Like, who's directing it? Who's writing it? You know. So there's your answer. If they're good, I'm happy with them. If not, I'm like, should have been a voice actor. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So I do some work, and I noticed that because of my slightly higher pitched voice, I get typecast as a certain type of character. I don't mind this, but I do find it funny, and I was wondering if there was a particular voice that you find more fun to do, because I find higher pitched voices fun.
So you enjoy higher pitched voices?
Yes.
That's good. Sorry, your question was, sorry, one more time?
Just what kind of voices do you find more fun to do?
Oh, okay. I prefer characters that sound very different from me, if I'm being honest. Like, I actually don't get cast very often doing this, just how I'm talking right now. I feel like most 90% of my characters have very different voices than me. I think when you just hear me talking, maybe some casting directors go, oh, let's just cast him as like a soldier guy, you know, just a serious soldier guy. Like, I've done my share of work like that. A lot of it's pretty boring. Some of it's fun. I will be completely honest, it interests me the least unless the writing is good. For me, more characters that are more different from me, whether it's personality or voice, are more interesting because they require me to sort of, really dive in. Right. Whereas if I'm a guy who sounds like this, it's like, okay, it's very, very easy. I don't know if I've ever voiced a character that literally just sounds like this. Like, I don't know. Usually they're at least kind of more serious or something like that, but other than that, yeah. So there's your answer. I prefer more out there, you know, character's different from me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello. And I have a question about, I'm not a voice actor, but I like to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Sure.
And I am a forever DM. in my
Okay.
group, and I tend to do some voices. I was
Sure.
curious if you had any, like, how do you, like, if you're in that environment, obviously you're there to have fun, but if you're trying to be like go out and do stuff with DMing, how do you not lose your composure when you're playing a voice that you really enjoy?
Are you asking from the perspective of a DM or a player?
From a DM.
You're asking how you keep your composure in what way?
Like if I'm doing a voice, for example, and I like try not to laugh because I think it's funny,
Oh.
or my players start laughing, how do you keep your composure and keep the vibe of the table going?
I don't think there's anything wrong with losing your composure in a D&D game. I feel like I don't play a lot of D&D, but my wife does, and I've participated in tabletop before. I feel like the fun of it is like it can be a mix of both, right? Like you can have really emotional stuff, but then sometimes you will, like a silly thing will happen and you'll laugh, right? So I don't see it as a downside personally. I guess it depends on the. I think it would be bad though if like you were trying to do something serious and the table wasn't taking it seriously. If there was like a diverging sort of like priorities. But in that case, I would just be like, hey guys, can we like let's kind of. I've told people this before, like, hey, let's take this seriously. Let's buckle in. And then usually people are down to do it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with losing your composure. I think especially in a live setting where you're all just having fun, it can honestly be a fun hiccup. So, yeah.
Makes it more entertaining.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hi.
Hello.
So my question was just, so do you have any roles that you think, or like you've done that you've been like a little bit more niche, or like not as like from a thing that hasn't been as seen or is like known as well, that you think you did a really good job and you're really proud of?
The Pluto one I was very proud of. For those, I'll give you the pitch. For those who don't know what this is, it's on Netflix. It's an anime that is adaptation of one of my favorite manga called Pluto, and it is an adaptation of Astro Boy, but it is a psychological murder mystery thriller. And it's really good. The English dub is very good. I'm slightly biased because I'm in it, but it has, Keith David. It has like really amazing actors in it. It was one of those shows where because this was from like 2008. Like I read this in college, and I was like, I love this manga. I hope it gets an anime one day. And then like 17 years later, or whatever, 16 years later, it got an anime. And my sort of crazy story with it is, and I told the director this because I'm buddies with him, I was like, because I auditioned for a bunch of characters, but I ended up getting this character named Brown. And the crazy thing was back in those college days, 2008, I did a fan dub of that scene on my own. Almost nobody has seen it because I took it down, but I did that exact character's scene when I was a kid. And so when I auditioned for the show, first of all, it was crazy that it was getting a show anyway. And I auditioned, I was like, oh, I'll probably get cast as, I don't know, this character or this character. And when they told me I was playing Brow, I was like, you gotta be kidding me, because that is the character I did my fan dub of as a kid. So for me, that was a really important one to me. Very proud of the work I did in it. What are some other ones? Ranking of Kings, I'm very proud of that. I voiced Kage in that, and I really loved working on that show. I'm sure there's plenty of things that I could think of, but off the top of my head, those are two. I feel like I get cast in a lot of critically acclaimed anime that aren't like the big popular thing, but I'm like, man, these shows are great. Like your Ranking of Kings, your Pluto, your Odd Taxi, things like that. Those are the shows that I think more people should check out. Even just as an anime fan, I'm like, just watch it. These shows are great. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hello.
my question is completely unrelated to voice acting.
Sure.
I'm just curious, your YouTube series, Let's Try. What is your favorite item and least favorite items you've tried?
For those who don't know, I in the past have tried many foods on my YouTube channel. And you said my favorite and least favorite? Least favorite was, God, Olive Garden, that was awful. And most favorite? I love chips, so when I tried all the Lay's flavors, that was pretty good. So, Spam. I had all the Spam flavors. I love Spam. I was like in heaven on that one. But Olive Garden, fuck Olive Garden. Thank you for your question.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I'm here, you sort of answered this already, but as someone who is like a voice actor mostly based from like home, I wanted to know if you had, what are your like recommendations for like good places to find auditions online that I could like record from home and stuff?
I mentioned Voice Acting Club. I know that's one that's run by Kira Buckland. She's a established actor. A lot of it is just Googling, I guess. Like I'm at the point where I don't have to search that stuff out, so I'm not up to date. But that stuff exists because a lot of indie games need voices. But that's one I know for sure. And then also I think if you go to like Voice Acting Club or whatever, you can connect with other aspiring voice actors and meet people and just collaborate with them. I'm sure there are Discord servers for this kind of thing. So yeah, just start your journey, whether it's at Voice Acting Club and branching out. I think a lot of aspiring voice actors, they kind of, in terms of networking, their focus is off. They kind of ask like an established actor, hey, can you recommend me? And unfortunately, I don't know who this person, if someone asks me, hey, can you just give the studio my demo reel? I'm like, I literally have no idea who you are. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I'm like, I don't know who you are. So for a lot of, your word in this industry is very important. So if I just like recommend this to a studio, a stranger, and that stranger turns out to be very unprofessional or whatever, that could reflect very badly on me, right? So I think a lot of it is really cementing your reputation, your skill level, connecting with aspiring voice actors, because a lot of voice actors in my generation, we all got started making stuff online and just doing stuff for fun and comic dubs and things like that. And now, myself included, we're all working in the industry. You don't know who's going to make it and who's not. So yeah, there are websites out there, seek them out, and all I can really say is just start auditioning, and get used to the rejection, because that's 95% of it is you're not going to book most of the things you read for. Just decide if that's something you truly are passionate enough about to pursue, because I get it, it's hard. It's very hard to be rejected all the time.
I've been there, man.
Yeah, so just know that, I don't know if this will be comforting, it never stops. But that's all, at least me sitting here, I'm like, yeah, I feel you. That's what I mean by it. It's like, I feel you.
No, thanks, man. I think I got the point.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
So I was wondering, have you ever been casted for a role for a story that wasn't actually finished, and then as you proceeded with the role, have you ever regretted voicing a character because it just went in a direction that you just didn't enjoy?
I've been fortunate, and there's nothing like that. I think the only thing that would possibly happen in that is like if it was really offensive. But I feel like shows that are going to be like that, you can just tell from the audition sites, just like what the vibes are. Or if it's some shows or stuff, if they're like, hey, this might have like maybe some like sexually graphic or something that might make actors uncomfortable. Any good production will warn you in advance. Hey, this show has gratuitous gore or something, or it has this. So anything I've worked on, I knew what it was going to be. Now, if you're just talking about like, I didn't like how the story went for my character, nothing comes to mind. I guess I've just been lucky. Maybe sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish this character had more to do, but it doesn't bother me. That's just the nature of the job. You don't really get to choose. But nothing has been like an extreme example where I regretted doing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so I also want to become a voice actor. I just would want to know some training tips on like your voice control and also stamina of your voice, because I'm feeling like I run out of breath way too quickly when I'm doing voicing on my own, when I upload on Instagram and TikTok.
I think a lot of it is experience just by doing. I will say though, there are voice-over classes you can take. I'm probably not the best guy to ask about like the technical stuff. I kind of just do, like, you know, learn by doing. That's kind of how I always done stuff. But I will say, when I first started out, like the first thing I booked was this indie game, where I was the final boss. I was Zeus in this game called Apotheon. And there was a lot of roaring and battle stuff and stabbing and getting stabbed. And I blew my voice out. I got sick afterwards because it was so intense. I had never yelled in a gravelly voice for that long, and it completely took me out. Now I can do 4 hours, no problem. And that's just something where, one, just by doing it, you just get used to it, but also knowing your limits, I think, is very important. I think one of the rookie mistakes you can do is, if you're eager to please with a director, you just go, I can do it, and then you go too far, and then you hurt yourself, or, you know. Any good director will be understanding of like, hey, I need a 10-minute break, or hey, you know what, I need to maybe reschedule or something like that. I mean, it still recently, very recently, I was in a session and I wasn't feeling well. It wasn't like a vocal thing. I just, I think maybe I had eaten something bad, or I just felt off. And I just told the director, hey, sorry, I need like a 10-minute break or something like that. And they were very accommodating, they were very kind. And I just sat out, you know, got some air. It was very hot in the studio too. And I managed to, you know, I just wanted to see. And if I hadn't felt better by the time the break was over, I would have been like, hey, I think unfortunately we just got to reschedule. So I think knowing your limits and just developing experience is what I can really offer to you. If there's like concrete tips, I don't have anything like that, but that's where voiceover classes can come in handy if you ask someone who knows that kind of stuff. You just sort of know your own body and your own limits as you go naturally. That's what I have learned for myself anyway, so. Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
I was wondering, I have 2 questions, by the way.
Sure.
What is your favorite character to voice, and how did you come up with their voice?
My favorite character I voice is probably Senshi from Delicious in Dungeon. And then how did I come up with the voice? Well, that was one where I was a fan of the original manga. Like, I've been reading the manga since, 2014, I think it came out? Maybe, I forget. But I have been aware of it and a huge fan of it for a long time, even before the anime was announced. So for me, that was a character where I was like, this is just kind of how he sounds to me in my head. I think one thing I do differently from the original Japanese performance is the original Japanese actor is a lot older than me. He's probably like 60 or 70. And so Senshi in Japanese sounds very old, which I think is valid. But to me, Senshi I don't envision him sounding that old. I could make him sound that old, but I think in dwarf years, Senshi, even though he's like, 120 or something, I think that's supposed to be like early 50s, late 40s. So that's kind of where I placed him in terms of age. And then I just kind of, for me, he's got a warmth to him, like he's very caring, but he's also a weird little guy. And it just kind of came naturally to me. So, and then I give him a little texture as well. And a lot of it is just, they'll give you, I didn't need the character description, but if they give you a character description, you kind of just go, they'll describe what they're looking for in terms of personality, and I'll let that influence, and I'll just kind of read a few lines and suss it out. But I had the benefit of, I was a big fan of the manga, so to me I was like, when I did that audition, I was like, I feel pretty good about this, and I don't feel about this about every audition I do, but Senshi was one where I was like, I don't know, I think this is it. Like, I'll be curious to see who they get. And so when they were like, it was you, I was like, yeah, I know. But I don't feel that way about every single audition I do. But there are, sometimes you're like, oh, this is like the sweet spot. And I was fortunate enough that they agreed. Yeah, I love voicing Senshi.
Okay, my second question is, have you voice acted for indie animation before?
Yes, one that I'm very fortunate to be a part of is Lackadaisy. So that one, the pilot is out in shorts. I voiced Mordecai in that. And that's one I also have like a storied history with, where the TLDR is, when I first started out with that Tumblr I mentioned at the beginning, I got my start doing comic dubs of Lackadaisy, because that comic has been around since LiveJournal. Does anyone know what LiveJournal is? Okay, that's how long I've been around. And so I've been a fan of that since like 2007 or 2005 or whenever. I've been reading it forever. I love that comic. I did my own dubs. Tracy was the creator, was kind enough to share that stuff. And then, I don't know, like 13 years later, I get an email being like, hey, your voice for Mordecai is her personal headcanon. Do you want to voice the character? I was like, holy shit, are you kidding me? So that was another one where I was just a fan of the material. If you haven't seen the Lackadaisy pilot, is very, very good, and season 1 is being made. So go support it. It's and indie animation in general, I highly recommend supporting, especially because you cannot trust corporations and they will kill cartoons you love. But with indie animation, it's in the power of the creators and the fans. So I'm in full support of indie animation. Yes. Thank you for your questions.
Yeah, I also loved your role as Mordecai,
Oh,
by
thank
the
you
way.
so much. I appreciate it.
Hello, Mr. ProZD.
Hello.
So, I've been wanting to like get into like voice acting because of like doing certain voices for like visual novels and RPGs. So the first question I gotta ask is that like whenever you play these types of games, like with visual novels or RPGs, like do you like get into like the characters for them? Like if they don't have any like voices, or if it's only in Japanese, do you just like get into character with them, or do you just like talk normally so you don't like exhaust yourself?
Are you talking about when I play them on my own for fun?
Yes.
Oh, I definitely voice characters on my own for sure. Yeah. I will 100% admit that. Yeah. If I really like the dialogue in something, it doesn't matter if I'm alone in my room with nobody there. It's just fun. I mean, that's kind of what got me to fall in love with the craft in general. Like going back to Ace Attorney, like I used to love reading Ace Attorney dialogue out loud and doing the voices and stuff. And it was all just good practice. Now it's still fun. Like for me, so the answer is yes, 1000%. Even though I probably sound like a crazy person, I will do the dialogue for certain voices sometimes, like even if I'm alone.
Yeah, I do that sometimes too. Even doing like different types of like voices, trying to like practice different ranges and stuff. See
Sure.
what fits for my voice and what doesn't.
Yeah, it's a good way to explore your range. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like the other second question I gotta ask is like if like reading dialogue with those types of games are like require a lot of like heavy lifting on your voice, what are some like other like beginner type stuff or like easier things to like get into with voice acting to practice with?
It's really anything. Like, well, the nice thing about if you're just beginning is you don't have to, you can decide when to stop whenever you want. But like for me back then, it was like video games, comics, just anything like that. I think, but it's a good way to also discover your limits, right? And what you need to work on. For me, a big struggle in the beginning was enunciation. I really had to learn to clean up my enunciation. And I still to this day have to very much focus on it. And then another thing I always tell people is learning your limits in terms of the type of voices you can do. I always tell people, don't audition with a voice that you can't maintain for 4 hours. It doesn't matter how cool it sounds or whatever. Sure, you can do it for a minute. Can you do it for 4 hours? Because most voice acting sessions are minimum 4 hours. So that's something I always tell people. So, but the luxury of, you know, just starting out, just doing it for fun is you can just experiment, just try reading different things and see where your limits are and, you know, learn that about yourself, so.
All right, thank you. And I also wanted to say I am like I do like your role, and like one of the more lesser known roles you have is Gen in I, the Somnium Files,
Nice.
Design Initiative.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much for
I
that.
appreciate it, thank you so much.
Hello again.
Hello.
So I was talking to some people, and I hear that there's a whole bunch of people who are still wanting to be a voice actor. And something early on that I had trouble with was equipment, programs, all that jazz. Is there anything that you would like to say for all these people here that you swear by, that you love as like microphones, equipment, any kind of programs that you just love for your home studio?
The funny thing is, I don't have a home studio. I actually only record in studio. A lot of studios these days want you to go in. So I don't currently have a setup. At home, I would not recommend getting this mic from the get-go. I use a Neumann, but those are extremely expensive. Don't get that as your starting microphone. I would say just honestly, if you're just starting out or just exploring it or not, worried about, just use Audacity. Audacity is free. There's nothing wrong with it.
Tons of free plugins.
Exactly. If you want a good sound, you can get an XLR microphone, get an interface for it. I wouldn't recommend a USB microphone. It's fine if you're just, having fun, but if you want to have a more, a cleaner sound, get one with an actual XLR cable.
Go ahead and get a Scarlett.
Yeah, a Scarlett is good. It's a good, interface. I use a Scarlett at home for auditions and stuff. Yeah, I'd say don't get the most expensive stuff right away, because you gotta just see if you can book, right? If you're doing well and you want to upgrade your setup, then yeah, you can do that later. But I will say a lot of things these days, you go in, they only want you in studio now. So of course you can some stuff you still can record from home, but for me, I almost never record from home anymore. I go into studio. But if you want to upgrade your sound, you can find affordable, good sound without breaking your wallet. So that would be my advice.
Thank you.
Of course.
Hi.
Hello.
So this is more a YouTube related question.
Sure.
I know you make a lot of your own cards, such as when you have a really good turn in a card
yes.
game or that.
Uh-huh.
What's the favorite card that what's the favorite card that you've made?
Oh, the Black Brie, of course. Yeah, that's the most powerful, rarest card of all time. Yeah,
Of course.
That one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Hi.
Hello.
Over the course of a long performance, long project, how do you keep the characteristics of a character from drifting?
That's a good question. Usually they will record a reference for you. So usually they'll take something from that session and they'll keep it on hand as your sort of, at the beginning of each session, they'll play it for you. Because that's something sometimes I have to be concerned about, where I'm like, am I straying from what it started as? That's always an interesting thing, because I feel like sometimes when you don't know the character and you first start out, the voice can be a little different. And then as you realize, get more comfortable with it and realize what the character is, it can change. Like an example of that is like Homer Simpson's voice in The Simpsons. Early Simpsons, it's completely different than what it sounds like now. Completely indistinguishable. But that's not, to me, a bad thing. I think, to me, it could just be a sign of watch. I kind of find that interesting, where a voice can change over time. Another example is like Cosmo from Fairly Odd Parents. His sound's completely different in the beginning. But something that helps with that, like if it's not something that long running, they record a reference of you, or they'll play your audition, and I always ask for it. Even if there are some characters at this point where I know so well I don't need it, but oftentimes if they have it, I'll just be like, play it, and they'll do what's called a listen repeat, where they play a line, just repeat it. Because oftentimes the engineer also needs to, set the levels for the microphone and stuff. And that for me is also an easy way of getting me back into the voice. It's kind of like putting on like a jacket, basically. Some people have like trigger phrases where they say a word or a phrase in that character's voice that kind of gets them into that. I've heard that's pretty common as well. I don't do that super often, but for example, like a character like Kage, who has a very different voice from me. Kage's up here. So if I just say like, oh, Boji, if I just say that name, I'll kind of get into it. It gets comfortable. So yeah, they'll play a ref, just listen to it, repeat it, just kind of get used to it. And then other than that, also just trust that the director will steer you on the right track. Sometimes the director will say, oh hey, it's getting a little too this way or that way. So just, you're not alone in there. You've got people who are also wanting to make this sound good. And just trust that they will keep an ear out as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Hello.
First, just want to say I've been a fan of you since Vine, so it's great to see you in person.
Thank you.
Once. Yeah. The question I had is, you voiced Nekomamushi from One Piece, and that was well over 20 years after that show started, and it's one of the biggest shows to ever be made.
Right.
So I was just wondering what it felt like joining something that big that late into it.
Oh, it was huge for me. I mean, I've been a One Piece fan for a long time, so it had always been kind of like a bucket list for me. Like, oh man, I would love to voice a One Piece character. And so when I got the auditions for Zoe, I was excited. And what's funny is I think at the time, because I read for, Dogstorm, Cat Viper, like a few characters. And I think at the time I kind of wanted Dogstorm, but when I booked Cat Viper or Nekomamushi, I was like, oh, this character is actually really fun. Like, his vibe actually fits my vibe, like, in terms of, because I can be kind of like, I feel like Dogstorm is very tight-knit, and Cat Viper is more, well, it's funny, I feel like I look really tight-knit right now, but I'm just very relaxed, I don't know. I feel like Cat Viper is a very relaxed character, and I voice a lot of cats. I realize, like, I voice a lot of cats. Yeah, for me, it was a big moment for me, especially because he's present for Wano, and the stuff that I got to do with Wano was so cool and so emotional. So it was it was a big deal to me. I love One Piece. I still read it. I'm up to date. I literally just read the newest chapters on the plane right here. I love it, so I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello.
I have a problem.
Okay.
I hear it's a common problem.
Sure.
I don't like my normal speaking voice.
Uh-huh.
When I hear candid playbacks, I kind of die inside.
Sure.
Is that a problem that you or any of your colleagues have had, and how do you or they overcome it?
I used to feel that way before puberty. And then I feel like I rolled the jackpot in terms of voices. But I will say, a lot of actors do feel that way. A lot of actors feel that way even when they're not doing their regular voice. A lot of actors really hate hearing themselves in anything. It doesn't bother me. Like, I don't avoid stuff I'm in because I'm in it. I would just say, oh, this is kind of too bad. I don't know if there's a way to get over it other than just exposing yourself to it. Like, I feel like if you just, I guess in a similar way, I actually don't like rewatching my own videos. I actually don't rewatch my own videos. Or I guess the thing for me is like, if someone shows me a video, I don't know, if I'm alone, it's okay. So I guess I do kind of feel that way sometimes. For voice acting, for some reason, I feel like because the voices are usually so removed from me, and I kind of feel a separation, it doesn't really bother me. But if it's like my stupid face on the screen, I'm like, so I actually don't rewatch a lot of my own stuff. But over time, I've just desensitized myself to it. I guess that's the only advice I can give to you is desensitize yourself to it. But another thing is just, is there anything you like about your voice?
For the normal, not really.
The thing is, I listen to your voice and I have no issues with it. I think a lot of people get very self-conscious about their own voice or whatever, but I feel like to most people it's like, yeah, you got a perfectly good voice. Nothing bothers me about it. So I don't know if that means anything to you, if that helps you in any way, but yeah.
I do appreciate it.
Of course, yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you very much. That was our final question, folks.
All right.